I'm going to hit intro. Hey, look at that. God, it's like I've done this before.
Welcome to the New Author Podcast.
I am a pro.
A weekly podcast diary starring Jerry Evanoff and Rich Casey. Join them weekly as they talk about writing, publishing, and marketing their books. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Author Podcast. Today is Thursday, June 4th, 2026. This year is flying by. This is episode number 357. I'm one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff, and with me, as he is each week, is Rich Casey. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing well. And never doubt that you're a pro. I mean, all people have to do is look at the screen and see that big boom in front of your face. And yeah. I mean,
a little fancy camera. This is a $200 camera. So yeah, I'm a pro.
Yeah, pro stuff. I mean, if they ever got a chance or ever sought out your football games and stuff on YouTube, they could see it. I mean,
I think I mentioned I was interviewed by someone last week. So yeah, I'm definitely, I'm moving up in the world. I gained about 30 subscribers too.
Oh, did you really?
So,
I gained
a ton of subscribers.
Yeah, I was wondering how big of a boost you might get out of that. Well, I'll tell you what, as far as how I'm doing, I am run ragged. Summertime, kids are out of school. They're all in the library. Today we had about a half a dozen giggling girls, even down on the reference end, because that's where we keep all the button making supplies. So they were making buttons. And man, kids that age, this group was probably in the 8 to 12-year-old range. And boy, do they have a lot of energy. Way too much energy.
I gotta say, I'm actually kind of happy to hear that school's out, so you have a lot of kids in the library. That's
they're
that's
everywhere.
Not something I would have expected. So that's very nice. That's wholesome.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Well, in part, it's I don't know who did this. The city, it must have been the city, but they kind of entice the parents to bring the kids because the school system gives away free lunches to anybody under 18 every day of the work week. So
that's nice.
Yeah, so you got 5 or 6 kids, you bring them there, you get all free lunches for it. So,
wow.
Maybe I'll come down. It's good, hamburgers, and they got chicken tenders, and
Wow, okay.
Yeah. It switches
like
up
PB&J. It's actually something warm, a hot meal. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I think it's gonna be a short podcast because I don't know if you have much, and I don't really have much. I did stuff almost every day, but I'm still kind of in that. What's that word for between heaven and hell? What's that word?
Purgatory.
I'm still in purgatory here. I'm still in editing purgatory, plotting purgatory here. Getting closer as that's a good Billy Joel. See, my brain is song lyrics. I say getting closer, and I think of a Billy Joel song that no one's ever heard before called Getting Closer. Anyway, so it is a new month. I do want to have something to talk about, so I'm going to do this one more time. Maybe I'll do it in July. We'll see. But it's a new month. So I usually do this recap at the beginning of each month. So for anybody who's new out there, I think our numbers have been bumping up a little bit lately the last couple of weeks. So anybody who's new out there, I wrote book 1 in my murder mystery series and published it back in 2023. Sat down to write book 2, and then you and I had end of the year goals in 2023 or 2024 goals, and I didn't want to just write book 2 and publish it and then write book 3 and publish it and so on. I wanted an overarching story that ran through the entire series. And the only way I could write book 2 is by writing books 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which I did. Wrote first drafts of all of them. Then I wrote some novellas. Like I have a whole set of books here that are ready to be released. They just need edited. And then I published book 2 about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. And then the fun began when I started working on the plot for book 3. I actually sent it off to my editor as a developmental edit on the plot, on the paragraph by paragraph plot instead of the entire book like I did the first time, and then I had to rewrite a bunch. I sent her just kind of a paragraph by paragraph plot of my first draft, and in the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've actually determined that we're going to throw everything out and start over, which means by November 24th, which is now 5 months and 3 weeks for anybody that's counting, I have to write a brand new book from scratch and finish it and get it edited and then publish it, something I have never done before, except for maybe a novella that was not edited. It was just published. So this will be kind of fun.
So how far along on the 5 stages of grief have you gotten in this project?
Which one is acceptance? Is that 5?
That's the end.
That's on there. I am there.
Nice.
Yeah, there was never any bargaining. I will say that. There was never any just let me do this and then this will happen type of thing. There was a little bit of anger. There was some sadness, but I am at acceptance now, and I've just decided to just kind of buckle down. It's almost like a challenge. Let's just see if I can do it. Just see what happens. So, and then the funny thing is that I still have books 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we've cut some things out of here that matter in those books. So those are going to have. I mean, everything I wrote in the last 2 years is probably going to get thrown in the can, and it's a little bit depressing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but all the characters are the same. The plot is pretty much the same. The backstory is the same. The motives are the same. We've changed about half of the characters and what they do and their motives. We've changed the location, which is making a huge difference. This is going to end up being this is going to be like and then there were none. If it was like a techno thriller type of book is what it's,
okay.
That's kind of that's my elevator pitch right there. And then there were none mixed with, and I don't know any techno thrillers. I probably should read one. It's kind of, but it's a murder mystery. It's a locked room whodunit type of murder mystery. So yeah, I'm definitely an acceptance for now.
Well, if you're looking for a good techno thriller, the book Zeros by Chuck Wendig is really good.
Okay. So I read one of his Star Wars books.
Yeah, it's been out a few years now, but it was pretty good in terms of the thriller techno aspects of stuff. And he's got a particular style of writing, his own stuff that is a little bit unusual. It's a little bit different.
There it is. Oh, it's a series. It's the Zeros series. So that's tough to say.
Yeah, but the first one,
you can just tell by looking at the cover that it's techno thriller.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll check it out in between book club books.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now. I'm in the middle of working on the edit. For the year, none of my numbers have changed in terms of my stats. It's going to though. It is going to change because I'm writing this thing from scratch. I don't think we're keeping anything. I mean, I'm going to keep, like I said, some of the stuff, some of the character stuff, but none of I'm probably going to throw all the words out. Words per hour stayed the same, 1275. And then the goal was to write chapter 1 by this week, and I failed miserably because I'm still plotting. And I'm going to end up missing my writers club again next week, so it's not that big of a deal. And that's it.
You know, one of the things they say is that you really have to write about 1 million words before you hit your stride. So you're probably there. I mean, you're ready. If you go through and rewrite all these books, you know, it's going to be 1 million plus. You're going to be way beyond 1 million. So yeah. I mean, you'll be in good shape. You'll have your voice. You'll have the plotting and organization skills down, especially with C. You know, kind of showing you what she doesn't think you should be doing and what you should be doing.
And the thing about that is that, like, I'm really Rich. I'm really worried that I'm bad at this. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm really nervous that I'm not very good at this in terms of murder mystery. I think I'm actually pretty good at the time travel, because in time travel, it's not so hard. You just make up a plot. It's science fiction. You can do what you want. You know, you need a sonic screwdriver to do everything for you, like Doctor Who does. You just do it. But here, it's a puzzle, and you've got to get all the pieces in the right spot. And I don't know that I'm good at it. Because every time she gives me something back, it's so much better than what I had done. And I'm just like, why couldn't I think of that? So I'm a bit nervous about not this book. This book will be fine. But going forward, I'm a bit nervous about this. So, yeah.
And this, getting into what I've been up to and just recapping, I've first drafted a book that tentatively titled The Darker We Hide. It is a thriller/mystery book featuring a female amateur sleuth, I guess you would say. She actually is an IT person who works in a police station and gets pulled in on a murder case involving radicalized groups. And one of the things I've decided to do with this, as I'm going through and editing it, is I created a bunch of AI agents that will help me to keep track of all the things I'm doing, the clues and red herrings and all that kind of stuff, and tell me where I'm screwing up as I go along. And I tell you what, it keeps track of everything, every little detail. And it does tell me, you strayed here. This can't be because of what happened earlier. Or, what happened earlier was a setup for something that should be happening right here in this scene. And I love that about it. It's really good. The thing is, it's really laborious. In the time, I think last week I talked about having gone through one chapter. This past week, I've only gone through one more chapter. Now, part of it is me, because I've been really busy and I had the weekend off and did a lot of gardening work. But in terms of the way the agents are working, it's working fine. The problem is right now that I'm facing, and I think I texted you about this at one point, is that when I get done with a chapter, there's a whole bunch of things that need to be updated. And at the moment, the only way to update those things is by hand, in the sense that I have to get output from the AI agents, copy and paste it into files, save the files, and then re-upload the files to a knowledge base. And it just takes time to do. And I've only done it twice now, and I'm still getting a little bit confused of what goes where and what I have to do. I do have a kind of like a script that I follow, but unfortunately, the way that script came out, it was many, many pages. I'm going to have to do this a few times so I can get myself just a few bullet points. Okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. But I hope it'll speed up a little bit because I'm really liking the way it's going. It was really interesting when I finished this chapter 2. I asked my agent co-author. I asked, okay, we've got 2 chapters done now. Take a look at the 2 chapters and give me your brutally honest feedback on it. And his brutally honest feedback was, chapter 2 is great. Your voice is developed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Chapter 1 does not live up to chapter 2. But it was great because then it said, but I don't recommend you go back and change chapter 1 right now. Let's get through the whole book first, and then we'll go back and fix the weak chapters. So it's even keeping track of the way things look chapter to chapter and whether things are looking like they belong to the same book, basically. In terms of the pacing and the reader engagement. I did specifically ask it, okay, I want to know about reader engagement. What do you think the reader engagement will be in these 2 chapters? And not surprisingly, I kind of figured it because, chapter 1's a setup chapter. You have to introduce characters and stuff. It gave me the comment that, the reader engagement is not going to be as high in chapter 1 as it is in chapter 2, where in chapter 2, the whole chapter is about the is an interaction between the protagonist and her son, who is going to be a major character in the plot of this story. So anyways, it's kind of reacting the way I would hope it would react, given how much time I spent setting it up and how many instructions it has. And we'll just have to see going forward whether or not it continues to be like that.
We'll talk about that when I get into my weekly recap, because I don't know if I have a tool that will help you speed it up, but I found or was introduced to something that helps me speed up my coding, and I'm wondering if you can do the same thing, and I'm wondering if I can do the same thing. So we'll talk about that a little bit later here. Do you have stats?
That was
that kind of it. That was kind of it. Okay,
1 chapter. Okay, 1,847 words. So
okay. All right, so getting into my weekly recap here. So this is the weekend where I had to work, and I'm going to cough for about the 3rd time. Hang on a second. Let me see. Audio. I ate. What did I eat right before we? I made buffalo chicken dip, and I just dipped nachos into buffalo chicken dip for half an hour earlier, and that's my throat is all scratchy, but. Anyway, so I did have to work over last weekend. So Friday I did work from home. And it's so funny. I had been wondering, I think I mentioned this on the podcast last Thursday. Why haven't I heard back from Sia? I sent her something on Tuesday. It's now Thursday. I haven't heard. She always gets back to me quickly. So then I went to on Friday, and after I quit working, I worked a half a day. No, I worked all day. So it was at lunchtime. I went to my email and I found an email she sent me, and I just replied, and I was like, I think I'm going to do that. Maybe that'll be in the document that I sent you. When you get a chance, can you look over that? And she wrote back to me immediately, and she said, I did reply to you. Where'd it go? Did you not get it? And I looked in my CB More folder, and apparently I got it a couple hours later and moved it into the folder and didn't realize what it was. So all week it was sitting in that folder. She responded to me like a couple hours later on that Tuesday. So finally realized that on Friday. And at lunch, I started looking at it. It's a lot. And then throughout the next 3 days, she sent me just ping, ping, ping. I swear she's always thinking about my story. Ping, ping, ping emails. So at one point I had 7 or 8 emails in my inbox for her that I had to go through. And I'm down to 1 right now. And it's funny because you mentioned earlier, the agent is keeping track of your clues and that kind of thing. The last email she sent me said, quick advice. I suggest that you write down : number 1, all the clues that Sam and Lennis will get. Number 2, from whom. Number 3, when. And 4, what kind of questioning or searching each clue leads to. It's exactly what you were talking about. Your agent is taking, and that's what she just told me. I suggest you do this. So that's what I've kind of been doing. But I went on Friday night, and basically what I did on at work is I got everything ready for my Saturday installation, because this is where I work Saturday. So on Friday night I played my football game, Browns game. They were crushing them. It was always fun to see a Browns game when they win. It's just unfortunately it's always on my board and never in real life. And so Saturday morning I got up. So our installation was supposed to start at 8:00. My stuff wouldn't be ready to go until about 10, which is fine. And I woke up to a message from our other guys who are updating a third-party thing that they had a little bit of issue merging code, which is the bane of my existence as a programmer, merging and branching. Right. I can't stand it. I hate that I have to do it. And it would not be ready until at least noon. They had to try to fix it, figure out what was wrong, and then test it. But when they tested it, it takes like hours. So they wouldn't even know until noon. They did let us know around 9 that they got past the step that was broken before. So that's encouraging. So we regrouped at noon. Looked like it was good. Then they had a couple more hours of things to do. So at 2:00, we got back together again. Now I can't leave my house because at some point I'm gonna have stuff to do. But I was playing my football game. I finished my hockey scoreboard app. This is where I emailed C back. And this is where I emailed C. This was Saturday, not Friday. This was Saturday where I emailed her and said, "Do you see my changes?" She wrote back to me and said, "Yes. Didn't you see my response?" And then we exchanged a couple emails back and forth. I recorded a video on how I set my APBA football game up. With teams I hadn't used yet. And that's actually been a pretty popular video. Cut my grass, weed whacked, leaf blowed all the grass off the sidewalks and the driveways. Did my grocery order. And I might have found the place I'm going to stay in Myrtle next winter. So it was a productive morning and afternoon for me. But it wasn't until about 4:00 that we were able to start our normal duties for the upgrade. So we were about 8 hours later than we thought. And then I did my changes around 5:30, and then around 6:30 we started testing, and we found a lot of issues along the way, but we fixed them along the way. We had all the developers were on, our tester was on, our CIO was on, everybody was on, kind of just tag team and everything that needed to be hit. And by 11:00 we were done. 11 p.m. Saturday night we were finished. And for that last 6 hours, I was literally on a Teams call with 7 other people, just going through it. And you could tell we were kind of getting silly near the end because some of the weird things that were being said. And, other than the fact that I had to work on a Saturday all day, including being on a Teams call on Saturday night, it was a good time. I mean, we got everything done.
So is this going into production like Monday morning or what?
No, it went in. So we shut everything down on Friday at like 8 p.m. We do the complete installation. And then when we're happy with it, the next day, Sunday morning, it's turned all back on. But nobody uses it. We have, we're a global company. So nobody uses it until Asia comes on board around 1 a.m. Sunday morning, midnight, whatever it is. Sunday night going into Monday morning. But they had a holiday that day. Asia, I think Singapore had a holiday that day. So nobody came on until USA came, or no, EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa. They came on, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. So we had to do it over the weekend, and we really wanted to get it done Saturday, because if you start going to Sunday with problems, you have to make a decision. Right. At some point we got to revert back, or we just keep going with the problems. We were done by Saturday night, 11 p.m., which was nice.
So this, when you're doing all this, it's not sandboxed. You're actually in their environment, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
Once we move it to production, we're doing all of our testing in production. So we create new records, and then our QA at the end, when we're all done, she goes in and marks them all as lost or deleted or whatever. So we spent the last 3 or 4 months testing in our sandbox, in our QA environment, our dev environment. Yeah. But we finally moved to prod. So Sunday morning, I'm up around 5:15 a.m. to head off to golf. My buddy John joined me. I was supposed to have a 6:24 a.m. tee time, and he had texted me on Saturday and said, "Hey, can I play tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah, 6:24." And he said, "Hey, can we make it a little later?" And I said, "Yeah, call and get a new tee time." So it ended up being like 7:12 was the tee time. Shot an 85 overall, pretty good. I was happy with that. Came home, and I was off to Buffalo Wild Wings to get back into this plot. And now, as we're now writing back and forth to each other. I had 8 emails or 6 emails in my inbox from her. I'm going through them. I'm taking notes. And I decided I need to make a master document that had the characters, some of the relationships, the clues, and then the chapter by chapters, kind of where I was. And at the end of it, I believe I did tell her, okay, I think I'm ready to go chapter by chapter. Actually, that wasn't even till, that was probably Sunday when I did that. Yeah, it was Sunday morning when I did that. So, and she wrote back and said, "Yeah, you're ready to go chapter by chapter. You got a pretty good hold on it." But I wanted to have everything in one place because I had different Word documents, different emails that had different things about different characters, and I wanted everything in one place. This is where my writing app eventually comes in. At the moment, it's not ready for that. So I'm doing it in Word right now, but I will copy it into that once I'm finished. And it will be ready a lot quicker than it would have been ready once I learned something a couple of days later. It's really interesting what I learned here. Which I'm sure everybody out there that's developers know this. I'm always late to this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of my problem is, when I'm using these agents, I'm just generating files all over the place. And more importantly, I'm generating all kinds of different chats. And I'm losing track of where things are. And I just have to come up with a better system for doing that, keeping track of it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do when it doesn't matter who you're talking to. If you're emailing or exchanging messages back and forth, keep everything in one place and keep it organized. It's so tough to do. I wonder if my writing app can do that. Maybe have a communications section in it. I could build a live chat into it and then give somebody access. It's like a collaboration thing that you could do. Anyway, so Buffalo Wild Wings, I was there for like 3.5 hours. And you know, I made a lot of progress. Again, I didn't get done. I'm still not done. But like I said, I was ready at this point to start working chapter by chapter. And again, I'm publishing November 24th. So again, we've got like 5 months. I wrote in the outline the number of times I've written a novel that quick. That answer is 0. So this ought to be this is gonna be fun. So in the evening, I didn't do much of anything at all. Monday, I worked from home on this day, and I was setting up. I was ready to just get bombarded with help desk tickets, because that's kind of what happens when you do an installation this big, as people start using it, and you know, people use it differently than the way you tested it. Right. You know, I don't mind throwing stuff into production and just say, okay, let's let the users find the bugs, because I've exhausted everything I can. I'm not going to test the way that they use it. So it's kind of what we did, and we really didn't have many. There were a couple, but nothing super major.
That's good.
So about 8 o'clock, I decided I was going to take a half a day on that day, since I didn't take one the previous Friday. And I told my 2 teammates, the kind of the 3 amigos that we are, I said, hey, you guys mind if I take a half day, leaving at 11 if it's not busy? And they said, no, it should be fine. So I waited until 10:30, and I told my boss, hey, I'm going to submit this. They said, no big deal. And he said, yeah, it's fine. So 11, I logged off, stayed local though. And I went to the local sub place, and I had a salad, and then I began working on the chapter by chapter. I did go through a lot of character stuff here. Didn't get very far with it, probably the first few chapters. And, but I was there for a while. I was probably there for about 3 hours. And then Tuesday, I was in the office. At lunch, I continued organizing the characters, the locations, the clues, the relationships, and the chapter by chapter. But the fun part happened before lunch. So we had a meeting. There were, I don't know, 6 or 7 of us in this meeting. And my boss wants us to rewrite one of our apps using AI, which, you know, that's what every corporation wants. And I'm skeptical about being able to do that in a large way. In my opinion, you got to do it little by little. But then we had my boss come in and show that how he uses it and what you can actually do. And this is something I was thinking about with writing too. At the same time, he's doing the demo. In fact, some of the questions I asked were writing related. Nobody knew it, because I kind of framed it like a computer programmer. But you can actually go into, there's an app called VS Code that I use. It's how I program most of my front end work. And it has an extension that you can download that's for ChatGPT. There's one for Claude, and you can download it, and then you can log into your account. And last night I used ChatGPT because it's $20 a month. I'm not using tokens for this, because you log into your actual account, and you can literally tell it, hey, make these changes, and it actually updates the files in real time. And if you've got the program running, you see the web page refresh with the changes. Okay. So I just say, make it so that I can put bullet points in my writing session. Boom. And then you see it doing its thinking process. And then if you're over here, you see the code changing, and then it saves automatically. And the minute it saves, your web page updates. And I go, oh, I don't like that button. Get that off. Make the button smaller, things like that. Now, I was doing this last night. It was awesome. And I love it for personal stuff. It scares the hell out of me as someone who gets paid to do this for a living. But I was thinking it'd be nice if there was a way that you could do the same thing. You know, and you and I texted a little bit about this. Neither of us want to like write with AI. Neither of us want to do that. But it's interesting. I was watching Blatch a couple weeks ago on his podcast, and he had mentioned a guy who works really hard to plot his book, just gets so specific with the plot, the characters, everything. And then he feeds it into AI and gives him a first draft. And then he goes in and completely edits the first draft. Right. Now, that's kind of interesting. I don't want to do it, Rich, but I'm looking at that date of November 24th, and I'm thinking, boy, what if I need to? And I don't want to. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be honest with you. The temptation is there. I think a lot of people have done it. Nobody wants to admit it, but I think a lot of people have done it. It's not very good. I know that. Like, whatever you get out of it, you have to like, it's not a complete rewrite, but at least you have a template to start from.
Right. In fact, what you get, at least the way that I'm approaching it, is if I do have to have it write. In fact, I never ask it to write anything, but what it will do, the agents I use, when it runs across something and doesn't think I've written it correctly because I've written it and the voice doesn't ring true with the character that has been developed up to that point, it will always suggest a rewrite to it. And in order to keep that rewrite in your voice, and don't, in fact, it even tells you, it gives you this rewrite, and it at least mine agents tell me, now realize this is in my voice, not in your voice, so you're going to have to rewrite it. But what you can do is you can constantly update what it calls, one of the training files that I have is called voice fingerprint file. And I uploaded a bunch of examples of my writing and what I was trying to accomplish, an explanation. And what you can do with it, and one of the things I have to do after every chapter, is update that training file so that the book I am writing at this point has the book in the training files, so that it can, your voice doesn't stay the same. It evolves over time. And so if you are going to have any of these LLMs write for you, you got to do a lot of background work in order to get it to write in your voice, or to at least come close enough where you feel like the editing you have to do is less effort than if you rewrote or wrote it all yourself originally.
Right. And you have to do that work on one of the two sides, and most likely on both ends you have to do that work. Again, I have no plans of doing it yet, and the temptation is certainly there, because it's almost like, hey, look, there's an easy way out, there's a quicker route, that kind of thing. But I enjoy the writing, so I don't really want to do it. But I'm not saying that I'm not going to try it and see what happens.
And I wouldn't say it's easier or that it's quicker, at least so far in my experience. What it is it's more complete or more detailed. Or
I look at it as a better framework or a template to work off of, where I tell it everything that's going to happen in the chapter. It gives me the text, and then I go through and edit the whole thing. But at least I have something to work off of.
Yeah. But as I alluded to earlier, I'm finding the best use, or the most utility I'm getting out of it, is it's keeping track of all the little details that I would forget as I go along writing. And it will flag where I'm putting things in there that don't really line up with what came earlier in the story. And that's been invaluable, even through the first two chapters. And it's just little nitty-picky things. Like I will use a word choice, and it will tell me, while that's a perfectly valid word to use here, it really doesn't reflect the way in which this character has been thinking up to this point. It doesn't really match the character's voice. And then it'll suggest some alternatives that I might want to use. And then you can evaluate, whether you need to change it or not.
So how much do you trust it? Because I give something to Super Editor C. She gives it back to me, and I trust whatever she's giving me is probably better than what I'm giving her. It's a better idea than what I gave her, that kind of thing. How much do you trust the AI that's where you're like, hey, that's a good idea?
Well, I evaluate everything that it suggests. So yeah, I'm not taking anything at face value.
Okay.
Like Kissinger said, trust but verify. So
okay. I thought you were gonna say like Fox Mulder said, trust no one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, so that was my thought. The whole time I'm watching him do this demo, I'm just thinking, man, I wonder if I could connect up. And the best part about it was when I asked it to make a change to my code, it made the change in the file and it saved the file. So I thought, boy, if I could get it to, hey, I need to change that word. I don't like that word. Can you change it to this? And then have it updated instead of me having to go through and rewrite it, which that's not a time saver. That's not what I'm talking about. That's just an example I threw out. But
So we're using Claude Code. Is that what you're using?
So yeah, we're at work. We're using Claude Code. We have a whole bunch of tokens to use. And at home though, because I have ChatGPT for my personal account, the problem is like I can use. Nobody cares if I use ChatGPT my work account because they're just paying a subscription. But with the Claude, it's tokens, so I can't use that personally. Or believe me, I would, but I can't because of the tokens that they pay for, and I can't do that. So. Right. So that was really interesting. It was really fun to do. And then again, I'll talk about it here in a second of what I did last night. But it's back to Tuesday. I golfed in the evening, week 7 of 19 in the league. I shot a 48. Not bad. Always happy to be in the 40s, but I always look back at 2 or 3 shots I would love to have back. That would make my score 2 or 3 strokes better, which is fine. And I lost my match, I think 11-9 this week. Yesterday, Wednesday, I worked from home at lunch. I continued my plotting, working through the chapter by chapter. In the evening, I set up a new game. It's 1979 Atlanta versus Washington. I'm in the 3rd quarter right now, and Washington is blowing them out. I probably won't even record a video. I'll just play it really fast and get it over with, and not even record a video.
Was that the year that Theismann broke his leg, or?
No, that was a couple of years later because Lawrence Taylor was there. I don't think LT's in the league because Lawrence Taylor's the one who did it. I don't think he's in the league right yet, not yet. So, and then in the evening last night, after I played my football game, I did hook up the ChatGPT Codex. I think it's CODEX to my VS Code for my writer's app. And I went in, I have a Kanban board that I use, and I went into that and found some of the bugs, and I just said, do this, and boom, done. Do this, boom. I mean, it's so fast. And again, the best thing about it is I'm not copying files back and forth like I was. It's literally updating the code in the IDE, the VS Code IDE that I'm using. It's great. It's so great. And then today in the office at lunch, I continued the chapter by chapter. One thing I'm going to have to sit down and start doing now is think about the important points in the book. For example, the pinch points. I have a midpoint already, but I need pinch points. I need the lowest point for my character, that kind of thing. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll fill in the blanks between those chapters as I go. I'm going to do a 27 chapter plot like I always do. Chapter, 13? No, 14 is your midpoint, 1 to 13, and then 15 to 27. Yeah, 14 is your midpoint. And then you can have 1 to 6 is your first act, and then 22 to 27 is your final act. So it's 25%, 50%, 20. The whole three act structure thing. Right. I'll be doing that as I go, and I'm going to work hard on it this weekend. I really want to get it done, but it's going to take me a few more days. I know that. Yeah. Came home, had some dinner, made some buffalo chicken dip, and I've been watching the A-Team, which is what's on my TV right now. And now we're podcasting, and there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check into this VS Code because I believe that's available to me in Typing Mind, which is kind of the interface I use to do everything.
Oh, okay.
And so I may be able to do this because all the files, like the knowledge base and training files and everything, they're all local to Typing Mind. So I may be able to do something with that. I'll check into it. My week, I had the weekend off, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I did nothing but work out in the yard and play around with my wife, doing puzzles or whatever it is that we did. I can't remember everything that we did. Monday I had to get back to work, so I've worked Monday through Thursday so far. I have to work now Friday through Sunday, so I'm in one of my 7-day stretches here. And I just kind of worked on the working with the agents and trying to develop chapter 2 as I could. But it's been really hectic, as I mentioned to you, I think before we went on air, or maybe it was at the top of the show, that the kids are out of school and they're being kind of bribed to come into the library because the school system is giving away free lunches if you come to the library. So right around
how long does that go for?
All summer.
Summer. Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow! Good job by the school system. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a really great thing because although we don't really, I mean, they do this at all the I don't want to say all library branches, but a good number of them. And our library branch is not necessarily in the area where you would need to do that. Although some of the families that come in, definitely it helps them out. But some of the other places in town, are really depressed, and that I'm sure that helps a lot with the child's nutrition. But anyways, it gets them in the library. They have tons of children's programs. We had the Baton Rouge Children's Ballet came in day before yesterday and did a program. We've got today. Who do we have come in today? The LSU Ag Center came in to talk about nutrition with the kids and to give out snacks.
How many kids are you getting in there?
Well, like for the ballet, they probably had, I looked in the room while they were doing it, maybe 100, 125, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of kids. And then, of course, since they're there, they then just kind of decamp after the program's over and all go into the children's room, which it's a big room, but still it's just pandemonium in there. And like I said, some of that spilled over today into my section of the library, the reference section, which is a long walk from where the children's room is. But yeah, we just had a little zoo going on for a while with giggling girls. And and stuff, making buttons on our button machines. So anyways, yeah, I kind of plugged kind of picked and chose my times to try to get a little bit of work done, which I did. And I also did some 3D printing. I'm still trying to print up enough boxes to hold on all my little train cars when they're not actually out on the tracks. And I've had to do 2 or 3 iterations of it in order to get the right sizing, because I'm stupid and I just can't get the directions of how I have to change the size correct. Mainly because I'm thinking about too many things at one time. Yeah, that's been pretty much my week. It wasn't sexy. I mean, it didn't get probably as much done as I could have. What I really got to do is I really got to stop looking at the stock market and stop looking at YouTube during my lunch, because I'm still looking at Gabby Bryan stuff on YouTube, and yeah, it's just too much. In terms of running things to do, I mean, I still got the same things on there about getting an email service provider and new domain name. I did read an article on Substack this week that I thought was really interesting. I meant to mention it earlier when you were talking about you're working on this revision and whether or not you're going to be able to get it done and being uncomfortable with it. The whole article was about how the difference between writers who don't publish and writers who publish is not so much the talent level as their ability to deal with fear.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you can deal with fear, you publish because you don't care. You want to get your words out there, and you actually want to move on to the next thing. Writers who have a lot of fear are the ones who get stuck in the endless editing loops.
I will say, I remember my very first 20 Books Vegas conference, 2017, and I remember Michael Anderle getting up there, or maybe it was Craig Martell, and just saying, press the effing button. Like, press that button. That's publish it, press that publish button, and just move on. Like, don't be afraid. And that's kind of how I am. If I was getting more purchases and more readers, I'd be a little more fearful. But right now, it's like, I don't got a lot of readers, so who cares? Right. But, if it takes off, then maybe I get a little nervous.
I think it was Michael Anderle, because I think he publishes like first 5 books or something without even using an editor, as I recall.
Nice.
There's all kinds of spelling mistakes and everything else. Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, I don't really have anything new to or things for my running list of future things.
Yeah, me either. I've knocked all those things off all the lists that I had. I moved all my writers app list, my to-do list on here on the outline. I moved that to that Kanban board. So I really just have the ad stuff, which I'm not really dealing with right now. In terms of my addicted to, I'm going to say golf, and I'm pretty happy about this. Finally, we're in that time when I can be addicted to golf. I golfed 2 nights ago, Tuesday. I am playing 18 holes tomorrow. I'm playing 18 holes Saturday, and then it's supposed to rain Saturday night going into Sunday, but we're playing at 4:00 Sunday. So I got 18 holes on Sunday, and then I got 9 more next Tuesday. So in a 5-day span, I'm going to play 5 times, and that's going to be 72 holes. I think it is. Yeah, 72 holes. So I'm pretty excited about that. I love it, and I'm so happy I finally get to do it.
Yeah, and you've got a good solid 4 months probably ahead of you.
Yeah,
to keep doing it. Well, my addicted to is something new: frozen mango chunks.
Oh.
I was at the grocery store. I usually go once a week or something to the grocery store to near where I work and pick up frozen stuff in order to heat up for lunch. And I was in the frozen fruit section. I saw this bag of frozen mangoes, and I said, well, I'll give it a try. I bought a thing of yogurt, bought that bag, brought it back. And number one, I discovered it's not good to just put the frozen mangoes in your yogurt because it freezes your yogurt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But what I have found that I really like is just eating the frozen mango chunks just like that, right out of the freezer. Because they don't freeze solid because there's so much sugar content in them. So they're kind of like, almost like not quite a slushy, a little bit more firmer than that, but yeah, it's really good, really sweet. I love mango flavor, so that's my addicted to. I think they'll be probably the addicted to going forward, unless I can fall into something else.
I think I've had. Are those similar to like when you get frozen strawberries because they get a little soft as they thaw? I love frozen strawberries; they're so good.
Except actual frozen strawberries are hard as a rock. You can't.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You can't bite into them.
Yeah, I used to buy. I would buy frozen strawberries, and I would buy bananas and some ice cream. I would buy actually yogurt. And then I would make just the greatest smoothies of all time.
Oh, well, I haven't even mentioned that. That should probably be on my addicted list. Ever since I was up in Detroit a couple of weeks ago, and I stayed with my brother, he has a green smoothie every morning.
So does my sister. Yeah.
Yeah. And his is pretty basic. It's like, a couple of mandarin oranges, an apple, a banana, etc. Well, I came back home and I kind of embellished on it.
Oh God. And I know how you eat, so I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's mine has raw oats, so oatmeal, and milk and yogurt, and I blend that up, and it pulverizes the oats. Not completely, the smoothie for some people wouldn't be their cup of tea because it's, in a sense, it's a little bit gritty unless you let it stand around for a while. But then to that, I add all manner of things: apples, bananas, mandarin oranges. If I got any frozen fruit in the freezer, like berries or whatever, I put that in there. I put spinach in there, and usually a good dollop of sugar, and spin that thing up. And surprisingly, you drink a glass of that down, and it lasts for a good long time. I mean, I usually don't get hungry until lunchtime, which is unusual for me because I have breakfast at like 7, and then by 10 I'm hungry already. And my wife says she usually gets up with me and has one of those as well, and she doesn't eat anything until dinner after that. So
wow, okay.
So, anyways, yeah, that's another an ancillary addicted to.
All right. Well, heading into my my schedule for next week, starting tomorrow, I am working from home, and it is a half a day. We are golfing. Me and my buddy Tim, we're going to golf at 12:30 at a course that's probably about 8 minutes from my house. I played there a couple weeks ago, and I think I shot 85. I think I shot 85 then too. So we'll see if I can get better there. It's going to be a really nice day. It's going to be in the high 80s tomorrow. It's going to be a really hot day. It's dry, completely dry. It's been dry all week, so I'm hoping to get some roll and some bounce out of the fairways if I can hit them. And then I'll come home. I'll come home tomorrow night. I'll probably finish this game and get on to the next. I'm going to play a 1965 NFL game next. Saturday, I have a tee time at 7:04. There's 3 of us. I should be home by about 11. Maybe 11:15. I'll head off somewhere and continue working on the plotting, the chapter by chapter. I also have to write my Perry Mason recap because I kind of let that go for a couple weeks. I was trying to write one a week and then publish it every 2 weeks. So we're to the point tomorrow where I have to release episode number 4. And I've talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago. It's the case of the drowning duck. I don't like this episode. I don't like the drowning duck part of it. The duck doesn't actually drown, but it looks like it could. It's in the late 50s. It's 57, 58. They don't care about animals back then. Right. Who knows what actually happened on that set.
I'm surprised it wasn't the drowning dog, because back then
I wouldn't even watch that. So I have to write that either tomorrow. Maybe I'll write that tomorrow or Saturday. And then Sunday we're going to golf. So my buddy John, who I golfed with last week, he's got a bad back. When he gets up in the morning, it's pretty tight on him. It's not good. We played last Saturday morning, and it was until like the 11th or 12th hole when he could actually swing the club. He's a really good golfer. He's going to shoot, in the low 80s, but I think he had 81 anyway. I mean, he played really well in the back 9. So, but he didn't like it. I was just drooling at it because it's so good. But, so I said to him, why don't we try to play in the afternoon? Everybody that I know can't play on Sunday morning. So why don't we try that? And we end up getting a foursome. So there's 4 of us playing at 4:00. So I'll go out to write either in the morning or a little bit later to get some lunch, and then I'll head up to the golf course by 4 and we'll play 18 holes. So hopefully keep working on that chapter by chapter and then maybe go shoot something good. I won't be home till probably 9:00, but I'm working from home on Monday, so it's not a big deal. I'll continue my plotting at lunch. Tuesday, I'm in the office. We have our golf league in the evening. Continue at lunch. I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're working from home Wednesday. Continue at lunch. We got to get this done. And then Thursday, I'm in the office. I'm going to miss Writers Club for the 2nd straight month. I'm going to have dinner with my friends from the old job to celebrate my birthday, my buddy Jeff's birthday. It's all at once. So I'm going to definitely miss Writers Club for that. And my goal is the same as it was last week that I failed. That's to start writing and to finish chapter 1. Really hoping I can get it. I don't think I will, but we'll see if I can get there this week.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I'm working the next 3 days through Sunday. So it's going to be more of the same. I'm going to try to jam in some editing where I can. Monday I'll have off, but that's only day until after we talk next. Monday through Tuesday through Thursday of next week I'll be working. Thursday is my not writers, but my book club where we're going to be discussing the Housemaid. So it'll be interesting to see because the book is different than the movie because I have seen the movie, and yeah, we'll see if people like it. But yeah, I'm just going to try to jam in as much editing as I can. I'm going to make a goal of actually editing 2 chapters by next week.
Okay.
I'm going to be spending a lot of time at the library. Some of it on the weekend. The weekends are generally quieter, even during the summer. Not quite as many kids at the library. And Sunday, I have like 4 hours in the morning where I can just do whatever I want. So I'll give that a try. Yeah, and see what happens. Hopefully, I'll get through 2. I need to pick up the pace a little bit, or else it'll be 2027 before I get through all 30 chapters.
Anything to share?
No, nothing really to share.
So one thing I didn't mention, I'm glad you brought that up. My book club is actually, when's yours? Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Mine's actually Wednesday, and we're going to discuss. We have 2 books. The first one I did not read. It had to do with the Presleys, and it was I don't remember who. I think Priscilla, or maybe Lisa Marie. I think Lisa Marie started it, and then she died, and then her daughter took over. I don't remember her name. And I guess the audio is really good. Julia Roberts reads as part of the audio, and I'm not a celebrity person. I really have no interest in the Presleys or reading about their lives. But so when we mentioned that to the person who runs the book club maybe a month ago, she said, well, let's introduce a second option, then we can talk about both of them. And that's the one I went with. I talked about it last week. It's called Educated by Tara Westover. Right. Really, really good. I'm 83% of the way through it right now. I'm looking down at my Libby audio. I'm listening to it, and I'm 83% of the way through it. Don't get me wrong. It's really, really good. I'm ready for it to be over. I can't stand, I want to punch her family in the face. I also, I'm going into this book. I have to think of it as fiction, because if I don't think of it as fiction, every 30 seconds, I'll just be like, how can people live like that? Like, I won't believe that it's real. And because I'm thinking of it as fiction, I keep waiting for like the turning point. When does she turn? And we're kind of there now, but it's not a full turn. She's still going back home for some reason. And I've already read the Wikipedia summary of it, so I know what's going to happen soon. I'm not looking forward to hearing that, because again, it's not good. Yeah. But I am interested in the very end of it, where I hear where she is right now. I think she wrote this in 2019, but kind of where she is right now, at least at the end of this book. But I am ready for it to be over. I'm really hoping, and I haven't checked, but I'm really hoping there's like, 10% of it is just thanking people, and here's the credits, and I can just skip past those. And I'm actually a lot closer than being done than I think I am. The woman who's reads it, I don't think it's Tara Westover reading it. I think it's somebody else, and she's really good. I don't remember her name. I don't have it on here, but I would definitely suggest this book, Educated by. This is a book I would have never ever picked up myself. I've already told my sister to read it, my mom to read it. It's really good, so I'm pretty happy about it.
I think that what you described there is one of the reasons why I generally don't read autobiographies or memoir, because the people that write them usually don't have a terribly happy story to tell. And so, it is a lot easier to take when it's fiction. Because
reading the Tom Brady story probably would not be exciting at all.
Well,
guy never loses.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I guess he got divorced. Maybe it would be interesting. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. It is. I keep waiting for here's what I keep waiting for I'm never going back home again, and this is my life. But it's in real life, it's your family. You're gonna do it. You're that kind. You're not gonna shut them out.
Right.
But there are times when it's just so hard to listen to. I know there's a point coming up soon. Tomorrow I'll be working. And I'll want to push play. I'm like, I don't really want to hear this. But I know if I push play and get through it, I get to the next part. I'm just ready for it to be over.
Yeah.
So
I can see it.
All right. Well, that is going to do it. I knew it'd be a little bit shorter than normal, because neither of us are really writing any new words right now, and our editing is kind of suffering at the same time. So, you can get in touch with me, Jerry at jerryevanoff.com. The website is jerryevanoff.com. The Substack is jerryevanoffauthor.substack.com. Again, look for that new Perry Mason episode number 4 on Sunday. I know I talked it up a whole lot, but it'll be there on Sunday sometime during. I don't know. I think it released a lot. Do you have a good time when you say I'm going to release it at this time, or you just release your stuff when you want to release
I just release it whenever. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll release it sometime Sunday.
Yeah, because Substack isn't quite like if it's a post, it's evergreen up there. Well, it's not evergreen in the traditional sense, although yours is really those Perry Mason things. They're not going to change.
Right.
But in terms of getting people's eyes on it, you can post things in notes a couple of times a day if you want, in order to get eyes on it, because notes does scroll to some extent. But you got to remember that people have a lot more control over how they curate notes. And so if they're curating their notes and they just have a relatively small number of people, and when I say small, like 20 or 30 people on their list, then if you post there any time of the day, they'll see it.
They'll see it. That's good. That's good. So again, it's jerryevanoffauthor.substack.com.
If you want to talk to me, my email address is rich@richcasey.com. I can still be found on Blue Sky, although I'm Casey himself, although I'm considering dropping there. I don't really get the kind of interaction there that I do on Substack, and I find myself wasting time there. Just kind of scrolling through
on social media.
Yeah,
that can't be right.
Scrolling through what other people post, but not really getting any benefit out of it. Substack I really like. I've picked up a few more subscribers this past week, free subscribers. I think I'm at 21 or something like that. So,
do you have any kind of a strategy or a plan for making something eventually pay subscription based?
I've actually got tiers up there. I just kind of used the default tiers that were there, and one of the sign up for the first tier was something about, I can't remember what I did, but it's something about getting the free book when I'm done with it, because I'm posting chapters of the book as I get them done. So yeah, it's one of those deals. That's going to be a hard sell. There are some people that make some money on there, but usually people who are giving advice about stuff. And I'm not sure any fiction authors are really making money there. So no, I don't really have any firm plans. What I want are the email addresses. Yeah. And so I've got 21 email addresses. We'll see if they prove to be worth anything in the future.
I've read some of your stuff for your books, and it's another one. Just like when I listen to Dan or Michaela read in the Writers Club, it just annoys me that the way you write descriptions is how I wish I could write descriptions, because it's so good, and it just bugs me that I can't write like that.
It's just. Well, I don't know how it is. I think it's just a lot of reading. I've done a lot of reading, and it just kind of comes natural now. So, because I usually don't even think about it. It's just the way it comes into my head.
Yeah. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for this week. We'll be back a week from today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And like I said, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a good weekend.